Okay, today we'll be talking about this mold issue, part 2. Let's talk about the environment. Okay, with regards to my room, there's this musty smell whenever I enter the room. I didn't realize until I speculated myself having these mold issues. There's also tiny little bugs on top of my ceiling, which is still visible to my eyes. You know, when I stay inside the room during the COVID period, if I stay inside the room for 24 hours, and normal people will just breathe between 12 to 20 breaths. We will take an average of about 16 breaths. So if you stay inside the room, breathing in 16 breaths per minute, each day for 24 hours, you'll be inhaling around 23,000. So 23,000 breaths is very toxic, especially when there's mold inside your room. So you'll be inhaling all this mold will just travel through your passage. Okay, if you're a mouth breather, there will be more mold or these mold fragments inside your mouth area. There will be a higher chance for you to getting all these dental plaques. You know, the biofilm, the formation of this biofilm, everything. The room has a very poor ventilation and also the condensation from the aircon. So there's a condensation and the humidity level is kind of high also. If your humidity level is higher than 60%, the chances of getting all this mold is so much higher when you have humidity level which is maybe between 40 to 50. When you just move into a new apartment, or you move into a new place, okay, other than the musty smell, sometimes you smell something weird coming from the newly painted walls. These are the formaldehydes. So on top of all these mold toxins, mycotoxins, you also have VOCs, volatile organic compounds. There's mVOCs, which is secreted by the mycotoxins, the mold. And when the room is very dusty, mold spores are very small. Okay, so they will actually cling to the dust, and the dust will travel throughout the whole area, the room. Okay, can go from point A to point B easily. So the mold can be spread to basically to the whole apartment if there's dusty everywhere. When you have all these issues, first you have to check where's your water leakage. You know, or are you staying in a more water damaged building? First, you have to check your water leakage. Find the source. You have to eliminate the source, repair the source of the water damage. Then you have to know whether the history of this apartment or the area you're going in has water damage from flooding, from the cracks, you know, maybe from the bathtub, the water that seeps through the wood, the ceiling from anything. Do you know that one small inch of area of the mold consists about 1 million spores. Okay, if someone doesn't have the knowledge of how to remove them by using some sort of harsh chemicals or even bleach, they will just remove this small inch 1 million spores to become 500 million fragments. Okay, so you'll be even more. When you do not remove it properly, from 1 times become 500 times more. So you increase the probability of you getting the inhalations of all these small fragments. The most small is already very small. So they are easily travel into our nasal passage, into our lungs. Remember that not all the chemicals targeted for the mold is meant to do the job. Sometimes you just make it even worse. Mold becomes fragments when they are dead or when they are killed on purpose. So they were just released. They were just dispersed into fragments. We are also not sure that one particular inch of mold has how many species inside. So when you have 500 times of X species, you become more prone to certain symptoms with regards to that specific mold species. So don't try to do it yourself. Okay, if there's a small spot which you can manage by yourself, you have to wear the PPE, personal protective equipment, like wearing the glove, you know, the mask, the hood, everything. Or sometimes to an extent, you have to buy those chemical suit, you know. You have to protect yourself because when you do it wrongly, the disperse, first thing, you are exposed when through your breathing, your inhalations, okay, then your contact, direct contact to the mold. Your eyes, you have to protect your eyes because the fragments, all this will just go into your eyes. That's why I have this redness when I enter my room within 5 minutes. You know, I don't dare to stare. You know, when you stare at something, you open up your eyes very much. I have this tendency of stretching this cornea firm, and it's like your eye will feel this slight pain. It's very unusual, okay? It's my personal experience. That's why I don't try to do this type of exercise, when you're very surprised, you open up your eyes very wide open. I will feel this tension, okay, on top of the previous throbbing sensation. That's the very special thing which I've never heard of it before. I did mention to the doctors before, and I think the doctors never heard of this in their whole life. These mole spores, they are very, very small. They can actually travel through our sinus, our nose, our mouth, eyes, everything, into our body system. So they will actually trap there and stay there inside our lungs, our organs, tissues, blood, everything inside our body. And inside our body, we have other bacteria. Sometimes people might have yeast, candida. There will be other type of mole. There's too much species on it. So when there's the bad guys proliferating too much, the ratio is off balance. When there's too much of the bad guys, the bad mole, they will combine forces with other bad moles to become a colony. That's when the biofilm is formed. So when the biofilm is formed, they become this very, very strong rigid shield that protects them from external factors. Once the biofilm is formed and you do not disrupt this biofilm, if you don't break this shield, you will continue to stay inside your body. One of the most common biofilm you can see is every morning when you brush your teeth, if you realize that you have this dental plaque or this slimy coat on your teeth, when you look at the mirror, there's this slimy film, or if there's some dental plaque that forms behind your teeth, these are one of the biofilm. Okay, I didn't realize it until I was exposed to all this and do some research on all this biofilm. That's also when I went for my dentist appointment every 6 months, and the dental plaque just keep recurring every 2-3 months. So I visited this dentist office for many, many years, up until recently when I started the mole protocol. I don't have dental plaques until now. I started in May 2024. Until now, it's like December. It's been like 6 months, 7 months. I don't have dental plaques formed. I floss my teeth. I also brush my teeth. The only thing I changed is the mole protocol. And the removal of those mouthwash, I stopped using that. Because when you use that, you kill all the bacteria inside our mouth. When it kills all the bacteria inside our mouth, the good one is dead. The bad one might be dead. So if once your good bacteria is dead inside our mouth, you miss the first step of digestion. We will talk about this on the future video. It's very interesting about all this. Once you know about all this, and because of this and the formation of nitric oxide, there's a very whole different area. We'll go into that in the future. When you have this biofilm, you have to find the correct proper way to remove them, to disrupt this shield, to so-called break this off. So the toxins inside underneath this biofilm can be released. But you have to do it slowly. And because we are built differently due to the genetics, you have to start the lowest dosage. When I was doing this mole protocol, I will just go for these binders. I only started using this biocidin in early October. I'm using the biocidin in liposomal form. If you want to know more about how to get this, I will link them in the description box below. But because I'm staying in Singapore, some of these supplements which comes from the US is very hard for me to import in. Luckily, I have this brand recently on board. So I managed to get them and stock up them. Currently, I'm doing on my 2nd month. So I have 2 more bottles on standby. I did mention about the different types of binder. Okay, different types of binders will bind to different types of the mole species. I've tried using the cholestyramine, which I got it from the polyclinic in Singapore. The cholestyramine is actually a doctor's prescription binder. So if you want to go for that, you have to find your PCP. When you get this prescription binder, it comes in a small packet. Inside the packet, there's actually other ingredients. Sometimes you do not want to have other ingredients which is not effective for your mole protocol inside this packaging. So what I can say, if you manage to get pure cholestyramine, go for that. That will be the top choice. For me, I have difficulty in getting this cholestyramine from the polyclinic. So the only form I can have is just the packet form. I can't manage to get the pure cholestyramine. It's very hard. And pure cholestyramine is so much higher because when you are in the States, let's say, when you get this medicine from the hospital, the government hospital, your insurance will be covering all these costs. But if you get the pure cholestyramine powder, all this you have to fork out from your own pocket money. The cholestyramine is actually a prescription binder. And if you opt for different binders, which is more natural, more holistic, they are the 3Cs. The 3C stands for charcoal, the bentonite clay, and the chlorella. Okay, I got to know about these 3 binders. It's from Dr. Neil Nathan. So if you want to know more about how they function or which mold species they actually bind, I would suggest get his book to read about it. There's a lot of information about this book. It's all about toxic substances. Mold is just one of it only. I will just link his book under the description box below. There's also another type of yeast which is very beneficial for the removal, the binding of the mold. That's called Saccharomyces boulardii. If you just get the Saccharomyces boulardii capsules, it'll be very expensive for long term. If you want to make it yourself, you can actually do it by just getting the correct strain of this Saccharomyces boulardii, open up the 2 capsules and put inside your juice and let it ferment. But make sure your juice you're using is just pure juice, 100% juice. There's no additive and colorings. I think you can find one of the videos inside the YouTube. There's one guy who he managed to make a big jar through the apple juice, 100% organic apple juice. So you can drink it on a daily basis. So I tend to drink them every 5-6 hours, about 50 to 100 ml. I do not know about the actual CFU, but I just monitor as I go along through the tracking journal. If you want to know inside your body the amount of mold species or the quantitative amount of the mold inside your body, you have to do the urine mycotoxin test. There's a few labs you can find. One of the labs which I came across is this Vibrant Health. I'm not too sure whether it's Vibrant Health or Vibrant Wellness. So they have this mycotoxin test, which is a lot of the functional doctors are actually recommending from getting the test from them. So they actually check a lot of species inside your urine. But if you are someone who cannot detoxify very well, when you do this urine mycotoxin test, the test result won't be very accurate. So what I've learned inside all these books, from the toxic book, from Neil Nathan, he suggested that use a so-called glutathione challenge, or you can use a sweat challenge. What I mean is like, just before doing the actual test, 1 week before, you have to take the glutathione supplements. So you have to push yourself because glutathione helps detoxify your body. So when you take this, you challenge yourself to detoxify, to so-called stimulate this detoxification system. So when you're doing this urine mycotoxin checks, the amount of mold detected will be higher, will be so-called much more accurate than if you're not doing this challenge. You also can do this sweating challenge. Sweating challenge is to just go to the sauna. You make yourself sweat profusely, okay? Just the day before the actual testing. Let's say if you do the urine mycotoxins on Thursday morning. So you do this sauna challenge on Wednesday evening. So when you do all these binders, you do this challenge, everything what I mentioned earlier is all about yourself. Okay, your body yourself. If you want to do checks on your environment, be it your work environment or your home environment, you have to use a specific test. Okay, try not to use those like dust sampling, or maybe air sampling, where they just collect a specific spot in your home. They can use, example, they use those petri dish. They just collect the air samples, different areas. They might seem to collect a lot of different spots on your home. Okay, but ultimately, if you want to go for the actual testing, just go for the international standard, which is called the ERMI. ERMI. I will put on the long form below so you can check it out. So they will have this standard to check. These are the so-called very standard to check. And if you want even better result, find some more literate testers, environmental professionals. They will do all these tests. Sometimes they won't just go for this ERMI, but they go for another standard, which is the HERSMI. Okay, I will also link down the long form over here. HERSMI is more like a targeted mycotoxins. They will target to detect all these species of mold, which is very commonly found in most of the mole patients or the CIRS patients. If you want to know more about this mole, okay, I will suggest 3 doctors which I actually bought their books and read about it. First is Dr. Richie Shoemaker. If you can find someone trained by Dr. Richie Shoemaker, that's the number 1 choice. Okay. There's a number 2 doctor, which is the Neil Nathan. They are not ranked, first, second, or third. Just that these are the 3 favorite doctors which I came across, which I get to know about them. The other doctors, number 3 will be the Dr. Jill Krista. Dr. Jill Krista is more like a holistic. So she will use a lot of essential oils, herbs. We will talk something extra. Because when you are exposed to all this, the first step is to remove yourself out of the area, out of the moldy environment. The first step is to remediate yourself, to move away. A lot of the mole patients, a lot of people suffering from mole, they will just ask, what can I bring along with me? Do I discard everything? Or some of the items I can bring along? Just remember that anything which is, if you are not sure and if you can manage to buy everything from scratch, just don't bring anything along with you. Because prior moving to a new place, if you bring something which belongs to the old moldy environment, there's a chance that you are moving something, the most spores or fragment, from your old environment to the new environment. Okay, but if you really want to have all these, like for example, your favorite photos, your childhood photos, all this, if you really want and you do not know how, it's best to actually do like a vacuum seal on it. You can do like a double or triple bag, it's up to you. You have to do it seal. You can do it maybe after having some exposed to sunlight. Sunlight kills a lot of things. You can seal everything and put another new container or maybe a separate room in your new place. That will be the safest. If you can't do that, just discard it. Or you can do a scanning before doing. Most of us when go into this digital world, so keeping all this hard copy doesn't help. And furthermore, you have these more issues. So you have to make sacrifices. You have to choose whether or not to bring it with you. The furniture, the wood, the rugs, the carpets, it's not advisable to bring along. Unless you really know what you are doing and you know that the things you bring forward to your new place is totally 100% free from mold. There's a few steps of sanitizing, the removal of mold, something like this. You have to do your own research. All this comes with a cost. Some of them, they won't want to discard all their clothing. If you know how to remove the mold from your clothing, the mold spores fragments are so small, they can actually trap inside, your clothing, all these materials. So you need a proper detergent to remove them, to seep very deeply into your garment. And once you remove them, you also have to expose to the sunlight. If you have those very expensive jackets, trench coats, everything, get the professionals to clean it for you. But you also have to make sure that he or she has this knowledge on how to remove all this. When you move into your new place, just make sure yourself is equipped with air purifier, the water you drink. Just have some of this system in checks to help you. They are there to support you. You have to check your humidity level also. And make sure before moving in the new environment, this new environment is not a water damaged building. When you get to know about all this water damaged building, you'll be very fearful when you travel, because most of the hotels around the world, even Airbnb, there's some sort of all this water damage building. Bring something with you to prevent yourself from re-exposed to all this mold. If you enter a hotel room and you find something, or if you smell something weird, just don't go inside the room. Just change your room. Don't force yourself, just stay inside there just for one night. For one night, 8 hours, you might be breathing, how many? I did mention one day, 24 hours, you'll be breathing 23,000. So if you stay inside the hotel room for just 8 hours, you'll be breathing in 7,500 times. So you come to the end of the part 2 of the mold videos. If you want to know more, I'll be happy to go for a part 3 to further discuss what are the things I've missed out during the first part and the second part of the video. And if you have any comments, please leave down in the comments box below. I will just read them and reply to you, and maybe do a separate video if there's a need for me to elaborate more on the specific topics. If you want to know more about other health related videos, please check on my playlist over here.